Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. This is your big brother, Dr. Umar Ifa Tunde Oguntade. Intercontinental Ifa Tunde RB Jesus. Coming to you live and direct from Philadelphia. I have a very important message. I'm only going to keep you about 5 minutes. I have a very important message. I'm only going to keep you about 5 minutes. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my continental Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Australian Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Caribbean Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Africans in Europe and Asia. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Brazil and my South American Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to Panama and Costa Rica, my Central American Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Canadian Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my New York, my Carolina, my Texas, my Phoenix, my Philly, my Jersey, my Maryland, my Baltimore, my Georgia, my Florida, my Arkansas, Alabama, Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City Africans. It's your big brother, King Kong. I need y'all to listen up. I got a very important announcement. I'm only going to keep you a few minutes. This morning, I received a text message from one of my homies. He needed Dr. Umar to send him a couple of dollars. This morning, I received a text message from one of my homies. He needed Dr. Umar to send him a couple of dollars. I logged into my account just to check my balance because I haven't done so since I left for South Africa back on July 10th. Only to discover that I could not log into my account. So then I called the bank to find out what was going on. And the bank told me to enter my 16-digit card number. I did that. They told me they had no record of my account. The bank that I've been with since I was a teenager told me they had no record of my account. So then I called the bank. And the bank told me that my personal account, as well as the independent Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy account, have both been frozen. Both bank accounts have been frozen. And I was told that there is an investigation into my personal account as well as the school account. I asked them, was this due to suspicion of any fraud on my part? I was told that it was not due to suspicion of any fraud on my part, but I was told that it was due to suspicion of fraudulent activity. I was told that someone has been trying to gain access to my personal account and the FDMG account. I was told that someone has been trying to gain access to my personal account and the FDMG account. I was told that someone has been trying to gain access into my personal account and the FDMG account. Brothers and sisters, if you have sent a donation to FDMG, let's give it until the end of the month to see if this gets cleared up. They have given me no definitive timeline as to when their investigation will conclude. If you have sent a check or money order donation to FDMG, let's wait until August the 1st, Black August, and see if this situation has gotten cleared up. They told me they sent me a letter to this point on July the 10th, the day that I left for South Africa. I was told that the timeline of suspicious activity was June 25th to July the 10th. I was told that the timeline for suspicious activity was between June 25th, that's when Medea went public. Everybody knows who Medea is. July 25th, that's when Medea went public. July the 10th, that's when I left for South Africa. So y'all know my I believe Medea and Pastor Bussy were fraudulently trying to get into my account. And if we find out that's the case, they will be sued and possibly arrested because fraudulent activity on a bank account is a federal offense. Fraudulent activity on a bank account is federal offense. Fraudulent activity on a bank account is a federal offense. Again, June 25th to July 10th is the period of suspicious activity. That is from the time Medea went public and I left for South Africa. Between the time Medea went public and I went for South Africa. So brothers and sisters, if you want to make a donation to FDMG, you must send it to PayPal. Hold off on the checks and money orders until the situation is resolved. Hold off on all FDMG Academy money order and check donations until the situation is resolved. If you want to make a donation to FDMG, send it through PayPal. Right? PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. If you want to make a donation to the school, hold off on checks and money orders until we find out what the hell is going on. The bank is investigating the fraudulent attempts on our account. If I find out Medea and Pastor Bussy had anything to do with this, I was told that they can be arrested for federal offense. I was told they can be arrested for federal offense. Now, with that being said, brothers and sisters, Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifatunde and myself until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal. My personal PayPal account is Umar the Psychologist at yahoo.com. So that's paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist. PayPal.me/UmarThePsychologist. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist. Or hit my Apple Pay using my cell number 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. I've never asked the people for $1. I have never asked the people for $1 in my life. I've only asked you to donate to the FDMG Academy for Boys. I don't have any sons. I have 2 daughters. So the FDMG campaign is a selfless project, mission, and service to provide our boys with the education that they deserve. But right now, I don't have any money because my account was frozen by my bank because someone has been trying to hack into my account, hack into FDMG Academy account. So the FDMG Academy account is frozen. My personal account is also frozen. That means we're going to lapse on our utility bills. We're going to lapse on our internet bill. We're going to lapse on a lot of our bills at FDMG. The bank is not giving me a timeline as to when this situation is going to be resolved. If I don't have Cash App, nor does FDMG have Cash App. I do not have a Cash App. I only have Apple Pay and PayPal. If you can spare a few dollars, send it to my Apple Pay, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, or my PayPal, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. Although Leo season is off to a rocky start, brothers and sisters, we will overcome. Shout out to all my donors. Newark, New Jersey, I'ma see you. Nat Turner, I'ma see you. Mobile, Alabama, I'ma see you. New Orleans, Louisiana, Hurricane Katrina, I'ma see you. Kenya, January, I'ma see you. FDMG is coming. We just got to lay down on floors, brothers and sisters. Lay down on floors, and we applying for a certificate of occupancy. I don't have any money in my pocket because my account is frozen. If you could send a few dollars to Dr. Umar for Apple Pay or PayPal, I would greatly appreciate it. Black Queens forever. Snow Bunnies never. Enjoy your weekend. Leo season forever. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
You know, I wasn't even going to talk about this. I said I wasn't going to be talk about this. You could tell the joke, the inside joke there. But, oh, goodness. Dr. So-called Umar Johnson, so-called Dr. Umar Johnson. I said so-called Dr. Umar Johnson. Really? And you might see me go back to Mr. Griffith for a few parts of this, but really, Negro? Really? Yeah, I'm using the other N word that you can't get in trouble for. But really, Negro? Really? This man is my age. He's around my age. Now, granted, I ain't been the greatest with money and everything myself, but I'm learning. Apparently, this idiot don't learn. This guy, I'm sorry, if you are still, after this, if you are still giving this fat, disgusting, walrus, two-faced, potty mouth, trying to persuade him that he's a man of intelligence, but he can't produce 1 degree. They say, he keeps saying, oh, I have 6 degrees. Maybe 6 degrees in your refrigerator, assuming it's full. Wow. How come I don't even have a fraction of that $1.5 to $2 billion you collected over the 10, 15 years, hadn't even broken ground? All you shown is a building. Which isn't even, but which has already been condemned. It would take more than $2 million to fix up a building that size. And they talk about, oh, we're behind because people broke in. They don't want the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey School Academy for Boys to open up. I'm like, no. It's called homeless people just want a place to live. They ain't vagrants that's looking to vandalize. They trying to get out of the cold. And then on top of that whole name, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey. Those are contradictions in itself. That name. Frederick Douglass was an abolitionist. He was trying to free the slaves. And on top of that, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me down in the comment section, Frederick Douglass was married to a white woman. I don't have anything against that, but I'm just saying, you're going to take the name of Frederick Douglass, a man who was in an interracial marriage, something that you have spoken out against on several occasions with your hateful fat ass. I mean, come on.
But then also think about this. Frederick Douglass actually was taught how to read and write by a white woman, which was considered illegal at those times.
Yeah, exactly. And Marcus Garvey from the little bit of what was he called? The Last King of Scotland, or they made a movie called that based on him. Marcus Garvey was insane. Okay? Which is about what you are. You're insane. I listened to that story. Both me and TheNaturegirl30 did. And I'm sorry, there are so many problems with that story. First off, if they have frozen your account for fraudulent activity, both the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey account and your personal account, no, you done did something.
I had to look this up before coming on here, because I know if they freeze your personal account, you did something incredibly wrong. And for anybody that send money in from Western Union, you guys probably know the deal. If you're sending money to a banned country or a country under war, you will be unable to send it. But in this case, when it comes to a personal account, your account can be frozen either by a court order, either by government action, which means that you haven't been paying your taxes. And for the court order, it's probably for garnished wages as well as not paying your taxes. And also, yeah, you can get it frozen for fraud. But the thing is, with him, it makes me wonder if he has been paying his taxes to where all of his accounts are frozen. He probably hasn't been paying. And the fact that people have been sending him money for 10 years and had no result, why do you got $2 million if they've been sending you money for 10 years? You should have more than that for the school, right? You should have far more than that. If they've been sending you money for over 10 years, you should have like at least $10 million in the bank if it's been 10 years. Why is it down to 2? Not only that, every account, even Cash App, notorious Cash App, blocked him. Y'all read between the lines. Do not give this man any more money. Because the thing is that if you got a bank that's owned by the federal government, freeze his personal account, that means something bad went down. And if you choose to donate to this guy, you lost your right to complain. Because the thing is, it's too sinister. There's too many red flags. Far too many red flags. Stop giving this guy money.
Yeah, and as far as going back to him putting those two names together that totally contradict each other. Look, I used to be of the hardcore pro-black mindset at one time. Those that have followed me for years from the Mr. Griff F channel to the one that uses my name, Ervin Griffin, Mr. Griff F, of course, you know, that got hacked. That's another story entirely. But those of you follow me, y'all have seen me change gradually over the years. Yeah, I will still call out stuff like, you know, Trayvon Martin and George Floyd. I will still call out stuff we needed. Or the recent death with Hulk Hogan and all that. I'll still call that out. But I'll call out fools like this too. I mean, there was just something not right. Personal story. The place where I work at, which is in local media, we have a thing, you know, a bulletin board that goes on air, you know, for events that come around. This one young black girl brought in something for this Hotep hustler, Dr. Umar Johnson, coming here to Bluefield. No, this actually happened.
Seriously?
Yes, this actually happened. And I looked at that and I knew what it, I was like, oh, okay. And the white woman, you know, she don't know who this is or nothing. I can't blame them. They don't know who this is. I see that. I knew exactly who this was. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, no, I'm not running this. It was like, and they was kind of surprised because they figured, you know, black guy and everything. I was like, no. And I said, why are you? I was like, look, don't run this. This guy, and I kept it as censored as possible because I was at work, because I really want to say some things more colorful. I'm like, this guy is a piece of, well, you can figure out what the last word is.
Not
this
only
guy,
that, he's a scammer.
This guy, no. And plus, we try to keep those bulletin boards to stuff that are free, or if there is a fee, it's going to some kind of charity.
So he was charging a fee.
Yes. And I was like, no. And if he tries to tell, and if somehow he contacts here and he tries to tell you it's for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School for Black Boys, if he tries to give you that hustle, don't listen to it. That guy has been collecting money for the last, at that point, about 7 years. He's been collecting money for 7 years. I haven't seen ground broken on a school. And you know, this one white woman who's around the same age as me, she did ask me, she said, oh, Ervin, how do you know? I was like, because I used to listen to him. But there was just some things that just did not right, that did not set the space. Look, I'm not the most religious person, but I did grow up in the Christian church, Greater Mount Zion Pentecostal Church to be exact, here in Bluefield. And if there's one thing that I have learned is that you have to have discernment. You can tell when you let God work through you. You can tell when someone really is of God and really is a just person. Not perfect person, because none of us are. But you can tell when somebody's a just person and when somebody's spirit just doesn't feel right. There's something about him just never felt right. Same thing with Tariq Nasheed Tate. Same thing with Brother Polite and all these Hotep hustlers. Just something about them just never felt right. That's why I ended up stopped listening to them. And I found when I stopped listening to them and listening to myself and and more importantly listening to the Lord, when he was trying to speak to me, I felt my heart and soul was so much freer than listening to the garbage that Dr. Now, granted, he does say some truths, but that's the grift. He will mix truth with a whole bunch of he will mix truth with a whole bunch of I said he will mix truth with a whole bunch of
You had to go 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. If you find that annoying, listen to one of his videos sometime.
But let's be honest. The reason why that he does that is I forgot what it was called, but if you've taken speech class in college or even in high school, there are triggers. There are maybe mnemonics that people can do that will actually get you thinking and doing stuff without knowing you're doing it. He's repeating it 3 times to try to hypnotize you in a way. To get it in your brain, to get you to think about it, to where that if he wanted you to do something, he would just repeat it 3 times, have that trigger, and you'll just do it. Or you'll just listen, even if he's just garbling out words that mean nothing. It's a tactic. That's why he repeats it 3 times. As annoying as it is, it's a tactic. And sometimes it works on people. And if you are considering yourself a hotep, which I don't, but even though he says a few wise things, he mixes a whole few wise things, well, just like what Ervin said, a few good things and crap, it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. There's no value in it because it's covered in crap.
Yeah, like if somebody fix you a perfectly done grilled chicken breast, but there's dookie on it. Yeah, there's still a lot of protein and everything, but it's still dookie on it.
Exactly. The thing is with this guy here, he's not doing anything for the black community. Pan-Africanism, I have absolutely nothing against anybody that wants to get in touch with their roots and bond with where they were from. But in this case, he's using it to gain funds. He's using it to gain financially through black people, and that's messed up. It is. And I wouldn't be surprised the majority of people giving him money, and this isn't a stereotype, unfortunately it's true, by either senior black women or middle-aged black women.
Yeah, probably people that really don't have that money.
And you know that with seniors, some seniors who really like you and they see that you need help, they'll give you their last dime. And I wouldn't be surprised that he is taking advantage of these people.
Yes, I mean, and the majority of it is black women. Me personally, I've never given this fool a dime. No, present company accepted. The majority of it, unfortunately, is black women. Because black men, there's a few black men, mostly young black men, who are angry for whatever reason. And let me tell you, they look for the confused and the angry.
They look for the confused and the lost.
The confused, the lost, and the angry, because they're the easiest to manipulate. See, he wouldn't want to talk to a guy like me or a woman like Regina. He would probably call us coons or whatnot, or whatnot, because we're not listening to him, or probably have his followers, shout us down, even when we're telling the truth, because they want to defend this fool. And then, even though he has worked them for years, and the evidence is right in front of your face, a lot of these cats will still defend him because they don't want to, either they're that stupid or they're that lost, or they don't want to admit they got, as the young people said. They got. They would rather admit that they cheated on their wife with the whole neighborhood, banged every woman in the whole neighborhood. They would rather admit that than admit they got played, they got hustled, or as the young people like to say on the streets, they got. They would rather admit that they cheated on their wife with all the women in the neighborhood than admit that. for some reason.
But you know what really puzzles me about this guy, and I heard some of the message that some of the broadcasts he put out. I think it was on Instagram maybe. But why are you blaming? Now I don't know who Medea is, which I'm assuming that probably one of them is either the woman he slept with or his daughter.
Yeah, it's probably it's the woman he was slept, and which I'm gonna get to that too. I'm talking about. But calling her Medea, that's probably not her name. He's probably saying that trying to mock her.
Then what?
That's probably not her name.
Then what did he say? Reverend something, Reverend.
Yeah, Reverend Bussy. But it sounded like he was saying the P word.
I thought he was saying.
No, he said he meant Bussy. But I do think at times he was calling him the P word.
But
if you a doctor and all that stuff, man, dude, first of all, why are you online panhandling and begging, number one? And number two, you're saying that around that time, they must have hacked my account, which they can be locked up for federal offense, which is true. However, what would they have to gain? Why would they risk their freedom to mess with you going into your account? That makes no sense.
What doesn't make any sense, and this actually happened to me, to where that I ended up having to have my old bank account closed because there was an incident with some scammers that somehow had my personal account information. I ended up having to shut that down and ended up getting a brand new one. The thing is, if you have somebody trying to go into your account, more than likely they will shut that account down, and then you'll have another one that's more secure. But the fact that your accounts are frozen, going back to what I said prior, I think it's probably either the government shut it down or it's a court order that shut it down. Now, his kids are grown. I don't think it has anything to do with child support. And he's not married, so it's not alimony. But something tells me that for the taxes that he's supposed to have for his so-called company, which I don't think his company is even legit or even under anything. I mean, I don't know like what it's based out of, but there are certain things that you have to have when you have a company, whether it's an LLC, whether it's whatever, or something else, or even sole proprietor. You still have to have all the legalities down. And you still have to pay taxes if you're collecting funds from your company. And especially if you are building a school. And I even talked to Ervin about this. You can't just randomly build a school. You have to, number one, you got to go through the Board of Education to make sure that the requirements for the school, especially if you're teaching these kids, are under their specifications. You got to go through all the legalities of that, as well as making sure that you are teaching these kids what they're supposed to be teaching under the law. You can't just randomly build a school. And you also got to pay the property taxes for buying that property. Something tells me that this dude has not been paying taxes for several years. And I wouldn't be shocked if the courts shut it down. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what happened. And yeah, I'm going to say it a third time. I wouldn't be shocked if it was the federal government or even the government of whatever state he's in to shut it down. So, nah, it's not anybody trying to rob you, because if it was somebody trying to rob you, you would have had a different account. It's because you haven't been paying your money. You haven't been paying your taxes. You've been flying here and there from Africa collecting money, but you never been paying it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on the side note, with the way you talk about women, you called this woman, and this is his words, not mine. You called this woman your throat goat, which is just a fancy way of basically calling her. You calling her that name, yet you and saying that she did this or she put out my mom's business and stuff. Yet you putting out your mom's business too, dude.
You even put out your daughter's business.
Exactly. So nah, bruh. No, you can't talk about her. You can't talk about her, and then on top of that, I mean, really? I mean, really, dude? Yeah, she's still disgusting, but you still slept with her. You know, a guy who is not a doctor, but he said something wise that I read recently in a meme. I can't remember the dude's name, but he said a man that can control his stomach, his private parts, and his mouth will have solved 99% of his problems. And there's some truth to that, because from what I can tell, Mr. So-called Dr. Umar, all three are out of control. Your stomach out of control. Granted, I ain't got washboard ass, but I'll be willing to bet I'm in better shape than you. Your private parts, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some good grief. Even if I was still single, good grief, you don't have to bang everything. Even if all you want is black women, you don't have to bang everything you see.
Yeah, we've already talked about that too.
Yeah, but personally, that whole thing about black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I say black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
Yeah.
Why do I call BS on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you have played in the snow, or you have played with some Asian women or some non-black women.
He's probably playing in it. He probably ate it. He probably bathed in it. He probably washed himself in it. We kind of know that, yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Dr. Umar probably plays around with snow bunnies, but don't tell nobody. And I'm not even going to say snow bunnies. In my opinion, that's offensive. I'm just going to say he has probably dabbled with other white women. Or women that are non-black. He's probably been around them and even had physical relations with them, but he is keeping that in the dark because of who he is and what he represents. And let's be honest, if you find somebody that understands you more than your particular race, there's nothing wrong with that, man. That's not a crime.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we have far beyond went past the whole illegal interracial dating. There was a time that dating a black woman or even a black man, if you are non-black, was illegal. We're beyond that in the States. Why does it seem like it's taboo when that happens? It's not. They're just like everybody else, but yes, their lives are different than yours. That's the only thing that's different. Their beliefs, their culture is different. But that doesn't mean that they're not people at the end of the day and they don't go through the same trials and tribulations. Well, they just go through trials and tribulations. But the thing is, it's not illegal, y'all. It shouldn't even be taboo. It really shouldn't.
No. And to paraphrase, if you ever seen this, and this actually was, I remember watching a version of Eddie Murphy's Raw. Not the official one from New York City, but it was a version from Worcester, Massachusetts. And I watched this, and actually it was funnier than the one that officially got released. And there was one time where he addressed, where people got on him about his preference being black women and stuff. And my personal belief echoes what he said in response. They said, well, I heard you hate white women. And he said, I never said that. I said that my preference is a sister because I'm a black man. He said, don't get me wrong. He said, don't get me wrong. I'll F a white woman now. And that's basically my philosophy. Well, of course, I'm with Regina now. But when I was single, especially as I got older and started giving lessons, I was like, don't get me wrong. I'm white women now. Beauty is beauty. Shoot. As long as you over the age and you're fully functional adult, I don't care. I ain't no kid, I ain't no young man who has to answer or scared family gonna reject them and stuff. As I got older, I started giving less of a crap about what people thought, including some members of my own family, because I'm like, you know what? And the sad part is, and I've said this many times, and I've even said this to Regina, the crazy part is, if I would have got out of my own way and got over my own fear, I probably would have gotten married, probably even had a kid or two running around by now. Because of the fear that cats who think and talk like Umar Johnson put into me, it kept me with black women, even though most black women was not feeling me.
But this is also what I told him. Just because if you decided to let somebody non-black in, and yeah, you got married, you don't know what's going to happen down the line. That doesn't mean that you are in a marriage for the long haul.
That's true.
Because here's the thing. People get divorced because either they just can't work well together or they just never had a chance to get to know each other as people. We don't really know. Like, oh, what if? You know, if I really got out of my own way, what if? Yeah, what if? What if it did happen? You don't know what's going to happen down the line. You would have had kids and in divorce. Because let's be honest, everybody who is in that time in their lives has a different mindset. Even if you meet somebody outside your race, it does not mean it's going to last if your mind's not there yet.
Or even if you meet somebody within.
Exactly.
But I guess the reason I was thinking that, because I was like, they were the only ones really trying to holler at me in my teen and young adult years. Most black women were not trying to holler at me. Most either just saw me as just a friend, or even worse, saw me as like some freak or some nerd.
And this is one thing that I actually did tell him. Now, there'll be some times that you'll be with somebody who is still haunted by the past, to where that you will probably remind them of their past excursions with busted people. Busted, broken, damaged, and even ratchet people. And sometimes you will remind him of that, and that's okay. Why is that okay? Because he's going to have to see you for you being you. If he don't see you for who you are, and you're actually trying and meeting him halfway, and I'm speaking to women now, black, white, don't matter. If he sees that you're meeting him halfway and you are trying to be his piece, either he sees you for being you, or he don't. If he's constantly stuck in the past, nothing you can do about that. You got to come to terms with what you need to do. Either you stay and deal with it and pray that it's going to change, or just accept it and leave. Those are your options. You either accept him for who he is, or you don't. But the thing is that if he sees you for being you, you'll see that and he'll see that. Same thing, vice versa with women.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing Dr. Umar wants to get into the head and manipulate and basically fearmonger. I mean, this guy is a sad individual. And like I said earlier, I'm not the greatest with money, though I am learning. I'm not the greatest with money, but I refuse to be in fear anymore. And I think I won't go into the story, but I think this past year has taught me not to be as fearful. You got to step out with knowledge and with faith. Now, I didn't say with faith, because while that's a good thing, it can also burn you. You got to have some knowledge about what you're doing, too.
Because the thing is that when it comes to walking with Christ, you will develop discernment, especially if you ask for it. And everyone knows about Solomon and how what he asked for was knowledge and discernment. You will gain that. You will gain that with your walk. You will gain that day by day. Now, this whole thing about my truth, your truth can be a lie. Just like with Dr. Umar. He probably got a whole bunch of his truths that are a bunch of lies. And why? Because his actions don't meet up with what he's saying. Your actions, as well as what you say, has got to meet. Has got to make sense. If it don't, then it's a lie. 100% a lie.
Yeah, and just the way he talks, he talked about, oh, black queens forever, snow bunnies never. But yeah, you're disrespectful to just women in general, and particularly the black women. You are. I mean, I'm like, look. Before Regina, I did have a couple women that I kind of was seeing, but most of the women that I was messing with were not prostitutes or anything like that, but they were like friends with benefits. But I never, and some of them were white, but I never treated any of them like that. Never. Because at the end of the day, yeah, they might be spending time with you. They might be getting barefoot naked with you and doing the do with you, but they're still people. They're still human beings at the end of the day. I mean, Regina, when we were just friends, I would tell her, like, look, after we was all that, I'd be like, hey, you need to use the shower or anything before you go, or I would walk them, or at least walk them to the door and watch them go to their car and leave, or I'd walk them to the car, or if they didn't come over in their vehicle, I would just take them on back home. Regina used to say to me, well, she was jokingly, but it was serious. She used to say to me, she said, Ervin, you really need a wife or at least a girlfriend. Because you are way too nice. Most guys, once they get what they want, they're like, I got what I wanted. Beat it. But you ain't like that. You be like offering them, the wash if they want to. After y'all get done and all that stuff, I was like...
No, I was actually joking with him about the fact that he sucks at one-night stands. Because if it's a one-night stand, and yeah, I'm old enough to say it, I've actually been in a few, it's nothing. It's just you get what you get and you leave. Like, you're not looking for nothing else. You just get what you get and you leave. I have never seen anybody that I have encountered for the most of the years of my life, and I'm 45, who has ever been that chivalrous. Ervin has a very chivalrous nature. He is like the knight in shining armor. And even at times, I'm not gonna lie, I actually said he's acting like a Captain Save-A-Ho. And I said that once. But the thing is that that's my perspective because I come from a different place. I come from Atlanta. Totally different at the time that I was there. It's not how it is here. The culture's different up here in Bluefield. You have people that they don't even know you that will take you to work. That will actually develop a carpool and take you to work. You have people that will make sure that you get where you need to be or you need help that don't know you. That's the culture up here. The culture in the city is way different, very segregated, very isolated. But it's not how it is up here. So from what I was saying, I was in Georgia when I said that at the time. But I was thinking of a perspective of somebody from the city. When you're up here in the mountains, that's a whole different culture. You're going to think differently. You're going to treat people differently. And that's how he was because he's lived here his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I was. And let me just say, though, if I don't have no connection to you prior to, I have to at least, and maybe this is TMI, but I have to at least like you to even consider dating you or even just slapping skins with you. I have to at least like you. So don't get the wrong idea. I wasn't trying to smash every woman in the neighborhood. No. No.
He's developed how to treat women properly on his own. And there's actually a book, and mind if I tell you it's about the book?
Sure.
There was a book that I think is called The Sensual Man. And it's a book that he actually read a long time ago. I think this came out, in the 70s?
Yes.
And it's actually still in publication. You can buy the book on Amazon. And he learned a lot from that book. I'm not going to say he learned everything. He learned everything from that book and probably through life in general. He's still learning about things now. But the thing is, he chose to evolve. He chose to learn. He chose to grow as a man. There are some people who just don't. They're kind of stuck in their own lane because they want to stay there. With Dr. Umar, let's be real. His whole persona is stuck in a box. And that's how people are going to see him because he is stuck in that box. I don't know if he can get out. And especially when he's making a declaration, of saying black queens forever, snow bunnies never. If the people even find out that he's been dating, either secretly married or banged one, his career is over.
It's over, and I will laugh my ass off if that ever happens. I will laugh my ass off. Like, you've been talking all this junk, talking down the brothers that are with white women and stuff. And yeah, and here's the funny thing. You talk about they all need to be with their own. Got news for you. People gonna do what they want to do. People gonna do who they want to do. Okay? And they're gonna be with who they want to be with. They're not being with your own is not as, even though the majority still do it. It's not as big of a thing as it used to be. Interracial has grown slowly in the last several years. However, the majority still stick with their own, and that's fine.
Which means there's no snow bunny epidemic, y'all.
Yeah, in fact, when the check break down black men, just black men, interracially, the highest in there for the interracial was actually Hispanic. Mm-hmm. It was Hispanic, then white, then Asian, then Native American, then other. Whites was actually in the smaller category. Black people that did not marry a black woman were actually getting more to Hispanic women. No, actually it was like this. It was Hispanic, then Asian women, then white women. The only one smaller than them was Native American, which was like 1-2%. Mm-hmm. So, where's the snow bunny epidemic?
Exactly. And why you keep calling it an epidemic, it's not. If you find somebody outside of your race that treats you like you're human, that knows you, wants to get to know you, understand you as a man or a woman, there's nothing wrong with dating them. Especially if they got good qualities and they bring out the best in you. There's nothing wrong with that. And people really do need to understand that. If you are black, there is nothing wrong with dating outside your race. And stop treating it like a damn fetish or a prize. If you date somebody outside your race, no, don't think about it in that way. Think about them as people, not trophies. And I think that's where Dr. Umar kind of goes wrong a lot. He's treating black people like trophies.
Yeah. So, and plus, we're gonna try to wrap this up soon. Plus, I'm sorry, dude. You are not a very smart individual. You sound like to me a guy that was smart enough to read from actual pro-blacks who actually knew what they were doing. And you learned enough to be dangerous. I said you learned enough to be dangerous. But you didn't really know what you're talking about. Because I mean, if you are 50 years old and you don't at least have a basic knowledge of money, something's wrong. You've collected over 15 years over $2 million, around 1.5 to $2 million, and you ain't even broke ground. Something's wrong.
I'm not gonna say this dude isn't smart. He's smart because he fooled everybody for like several years, even though it's blatantly obvious that he's a kind of a hustler. No, I'm not even gonna call him a hustler. I'm just gonna call him a straight up scammer. Because at least with hustlers, you might get a result. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But in this case, Dr. Umar knew exactly who he could target and who would give him money. He's using y'all as his job, like as a way to actually gain funds financially.
Yeah, and let me tell you, get an actual job, dude. Seriously.
Or I mean, to do. Make a school, an actual school.
I mean, I'm sorry. when I took over this house, one of the things that happened prior to me taking it over, there was a small electrical fire that knocked out the power to most of the house. I still have a little bit coming from the back porch that I've been just using for stuff that I absolutely need. But I did the whole GoFundMe thing for about maybe a week or so. But after about a week or so, I got more responses from people trying to get money out of me so they could, we can help advertise this and that. And I was like, this is a hustle. I'm like, no. Right now, I ain't got money. I ain't got enough money to keep lights on, keep food in here and stuff. But you want me to give you money to help advertise this? No. So I just quit that. I said, you know what? Go another way. Here's the thing. I'm figuring out as I go. I do have some plans, but I'm figuring out as I go. This guy ain't even trying to figure it out.
Because he don't want to. He never did.
No.
It's not the fact that he's not knowledgeable about money. He just knows how to get money without having to work.
Yeah, this is the only way he knows how to get money, which is a shame because you should be better than this. Way better. But this is how grifters like this exist. Not just in the black community, in all communities. We got them in all communities.
Pretty much.
It ain't just the black community. The black communities are the ones that get highlighted. But they go on in all communities. Don't think for a second there ain't no grifter or no hustler or no scammer in the white community or in the Asian community, or I would even say the Hindu community in the United States or the Hispanic community. Don't think there's no grifters or no hustlers in there. They exist there too.
And also think
they're
about
just
it
not
now.
highlighted.
Well, that's true. But think about it now. When it comes to any type of exclusivity, like having an all-black school, I don't know if that holds more weight than it did like 30 years ago.
No.
You're gonna probably have the strong arm of the law forcing y'all to integrate, because that was the overall purpose of the civil rights movement, was integration. Now having an all-black school just for black boys is segregating, don't you think?
Yeah, not to mention it's segregating in itself, not only racially, but gender-wise. Why is it for black boys? Why isn't it for black children?
Exactly. And look at Morehouse. Morehouse is an historically all-black college, but it is co-ed and integrated now. You got white guys going there. You even got girls going there now.
Better example for those that are listening and are from my area. You know what I'm talking about. Look at Bluefield State.
Yep.
It's a historically black college, but I think there's more white students there than black, honestly.
You're not going to see an all-black or all particular race type school that is publicly funded by the state or by the federal government. You're not going to see that anymore. They're going to force you to integrate.
Yeah, and that's everybody. It wasn't just the white schools. It wasn't just because even the white schools, even though some of them, like let's say Harvard, for example, that are still, but I think it's not so much racially. I think it's more priced out than it is racial.
Right. But
because even white kids who are smart can't even go there.
They don't accept just anybody. And I mean, yeah, people can buy their way in, but it's mostly a financial thing, as well as if you got some pull, especially politically. If you got some pull, you'll probably go to Harvard. But the thing is, now for an historically black school that has all black people, you are not going to see that around in this day. You'll probably see it like maybe 30 or 40 years ago, even 50 years ago. But you're not going to see that now because of the civil rights movement. And that kind of forced integration to happen in schools. And yes, everyone knows the history. There was a lot of backlash when it came to integration in local schools. So if you have an all-black college that is funded by the state or by the federal government, it's going to be integrated real quick. And not only that, you're having all one gender to be in that school. If it's privately owned, different story. If it's owned by the state, or if you're getting funds by the state or by the federal government, it's going to be integrated.
It's going to be integrated, and it's going to be not just boys.
Exactly. It's going to have girls and boys in there.
Yeah.
So people got, I mean, for those that try to give this man money or keep giving him money, I pray that y'all stop. I pray you guys see the writing on the wall. This guy is a scammer and a hustler.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything in several years.
Take that little bit of money that you was giving him on the regular, store it somewhere, save it, go get you a stock or a bond or something.
Or build your own wealth. Get a financial advisor that can help you build your own wealth. And if you're a senior, you find a way to use that money that will get you passive income while you're still here. You put that money to good use, not to put it on a piece of trash like this guy who doesn't care about anybody but him.
Yeah, so you got anything else to add? Because actually I want to eat breakfast and I'm sick of talking about this trash.
I'm done.
All right, that's B2. Well, I'm out.